Hi everybody. I wanted to talk to you about the art fair that I attended this past weekend. Well, first of all, this is the part two of the video that I did earlier. So I just wanted to let you know, touch base with you guys and let you know how it went. Well, I mean, I did have a really good time. I really enjoyed myself. I got there like about 2 hours before the event started, and it took me about 2 hours to set everything up. I had a lot of stuff. I only had help pitching up the canopy. That was it. After that, my helper left, and I had to do all the rest by myself. Hang up all the paintings, set up. I had a little table where I set up my prints, and I was selling those. So I had to hang up all the paintings individually, and I think it looked pretty good. I was pretty happy with the way my canopy came out, and I was happy that it took me just 2 hours. You know, the fair started. By the time the fair started, I was still finishing up a few things, but basically I had gotten it all set up, which I was happy. And the first day on Friday, there was not too many patrons, I guess you would say, not too many customers that came in. So we were just, basically all the vendors were just standing around waiting for people to come to their booth, but it was pretty empty that day, and I was like, oh my God, it's going to be a really, slow art fair. But the second day, it was a lot busier. A lot of people came by, and I did manage to sell. I noticed that I sold a lot of my print, but I didn't sell any of the paintings, and I kind of figured that I wouldn't sell any because I priced them a little bit high, because I really didn't want to sell any of them. I wanted to, for now, I wanted to have them in case I do another art fair a few months from now. I'll have, paintings to show. But what I realized is that it's a good idea to have different price points, to have your lower priced artwork or prints that people will buy, because those did sell. And well, those did sell, so I was happy about that. And but yeah, like I said, the second day and on Sunday, it was a good crowd. I mean, it was not like packed. It wasn't like some art shows that I've heard are really packed and they just draw big crowds. This was not like a huge crowd or anything, but it was, there was a good amount of people there that were buying. But I mean, I really enjoyed basically what I went to, I did this fair just so that I could show my work. And that's what I really enjoyed. I enjoyed watching the people that would walk by and they'd see my artwork and they'd go, wow, look at that. And then the people would come in and they'd ask me questions, and I'd tell them all about my art and how I did it and what medium I used. And they were just like fascinated. They was like, wow, you did this? You can do that? How do you do that detail? Can you do that, And I explained to them how I painted everything, the methods I used and everything. So they were really, they were excited about that. And I was, it made me feel really good. And even the people that didn't like it, I noticed some people would come by and they'd say, oh, women are not, they don't look like that, or it looks like the same woman, or they were kind of like, I guess they were kind of offended of my art. But, that's the whole purpose that I did this show, and that's the whole reason that I did paintings like this one on that large scale. I don't know if you can tell how large it is, but yeah, I did them that large and larger purposely to get people's attention and to provoke some sort of emotion or some sort of reaction from them. And it did. I mean, most of the people that walked by and came into my booth, they loved my work. They said, this is really nice, I really love it. But not I noticed that not all of them. But one lady, she came into my booth and she goes, oh, women don't look like that. Those are breast implants. Those are, you're degrading women and all of this. And she just kept talking and talking. And I'm like, well, let me explain my reason for doing this. And she wouldn't let me speak. But finally she shut up, and I was able to tell her that these were just, my exaggeration of the female form, that it was just my, my feelings, my interpretation of the art. And I told her, when Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel in Rome, the clergy people and the Pope and all, they were all offended that he painted God and Adam, real muscular, and he made them look real kind of erotic, and he exaggerated their masculinity. So I kind of explained to her that this is kind of what I'm doing with my art. And she just like said, oh, and she walked off. I was like, wait a minute. But that was about the only, I think, negative person that came up to me. Everybody really loved my work. I was, it felt really good to just have people walk by. Even the ones that didn't come into my booth, they would walk by and they would just see it and they would go like, wow, their mouth would open. That felt really good, just experiencing that, watching those people do that. And one thing I really noticed is that when the children would walk by or come into my booth, they were like, wow, they were so into the artwork, because I do a lot of fairies, I do angels, I do mermaids. So the children they just saw the mermaid, they just saw the fairy, they just saw it for what it was. There's nothing, to them, it was just this fantasy character. And I thought that was so awesome. It seemed like the children got my work, they understood it more than the adults did. And I'm like, wow, that is really awesome. I never really would have thought that, unless I had done this. If I hadn't done this fair, I wouldn't have seen those reactions of people, and the children, the reaction of the children, and how my artwork really caused a reaction, some sort of thing in people. And that's what my art is about, what I'm trying to do. So in essence, I do recommend that you do maybe at least one of these art fairs. If I know you're an artist, so get out there, show your work, do at least something where you show your work, try to get it out there, and see how people react to it. See what people, not just what they think about it, but how they, does it push their buttons or something like that. But I do want to say that it was a lot of work, setting up and tearing down, and I didn't have any help, and I was there all day by myself. I didn't have anyone to watch my booth or anything. You can get one of the people there to watch it, like one of the volunteers, but they only watch it for like 10 minutes, I think. So I couldn't really take like a 30-minute lunch break or anything like that. I had to be there. I ran to the bathroom one time, and when I came back, this lady was there waiting for me because she wanted to buy these prints. And she said, oh, you can't leave your stuff like that. People will walk off with it. And I'm like, they're just prints. They're just, I wanted to tell her they're just cheap prints, but of course I couldn't tell her that. But yeah, it is a lot of work, and the expense is, like I said before, it's a lot of expense. And I did sell, a lot of prints, but I did not make, I think I made enough for the cost of the booth. Probably maybe a little bit more, but to get back the cost of all the materials, the canopy and everything that I put together, and my time, I had to take time off from my regular job. I missed, there's a paycheck there that's going to be short because of that. So it does take a lot of work and a lot of, I would say, financial resources. So if you're a young artist and you're thinking about doing one of these, save up some money before you do one of these. Don't just, if you need to pay bills or other bills or stuff, don't do one of these. Wait until you have enough money saved up so that you can do one of these. And I think that would go for also doing Comic-Cons. So in fact, I really enjoyed doing this show so much, is that I think the next one I'm probably gonna do is the Comic-Con. Now, don't get all upset. I know that fine art, doing fine art and a Comic-Con are completely different, but I also do some fan art, so I think I might just do a Comic-Con just to see if I like it, just to see how it goes, and I'll make a video on that and let you know how that goes. But I definitely did enjoy doing this. If I didn't have a full-time job, I would probably do a lot of these. But since I do have a full-time job and that, you know, I got a mortgage to pay, I got 2 mouths to feed, you know, I got to keep food on the table, a roof over my head. So that really determines a lot of what I'm going to do. Because what I did notice is that people didn't want to pay the high price for the paintings, which I had them at a really high price, but I don't blame them because, you know, I'm not a name artist. People, they don't know who I am. Why would I buy a painting from someone that I don't know, no matter how good it is? So you need to sort of build that sort of reputation, and you need to devote a lot of time to that to expect to sell a lot of your paintings for a good price, for a price that is worth your work and a price that is worth it for you to do these fairs. But to do a fair just to see people's reaction, just to see how they react to your work, that I do recommend. Do it with that goal, with that in mind, not to make money, to make a little fortune or that. Don't do it for those reasons. Do it because you love what you do and you want to show your work. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.